Hello everyone, my name's Steve. This is my brand new Type-RA. Bought it on Monday for almost $5,000 off MSRP. Yes, they are starting to finally discount these. They've been sitting on lots for 4 or 5 months now, and they were desperate to sell to get some quarterly goals, so I lucked out, got a Type-RA. I was going to order one last year, first announcement for this car. Had it ordered with Herberger. Canceled order as soon as they said how much it was costing and what was going to be on it. But for $45,000, comparing this to a series gray, you get the wheels, you get the spoiler, you get the carbon roof, and that I consider that to be worth the extra $3,000. If you look at the MSRP for the carbon roof alone, it's $4,500. The spoiler is $3,800. Each wheel is $1,300 from the dealer. So that seems like it's a pretty good deal to me. Plus the car is gorgeous. So this is going to be my version of Matt Farah's short stakes. Just kind of doing a quick drive on my favorite road, first time with the car. I'm going to be representing M45 Automotive. It's the shop I work at in Autocross next season. Going to be either in B Street or in STU. I haven't decided yet. Probably wind up in STU to get some mods in the car. B Street, this car doesn't seem to be super competitive, but STU with a few mods it can be pretty competitive. Snail Performance, we've already done a tune with Snail, Travis's Snail. The tune is just to clear up some of the base map, was actually really aggressive on timing. He's really surprised with how well this car did versus his Type-RA, which he's already done a tune on. We're looking at about 330 wheel torque with this car, about 285 to 287 peak horsepower. Power band's really nice and low, which is great for autocross. Obviously can't use a tune for stock class, so I do have a base map set for iDrive. And yeah, so pretty excited. A few things about the car. Previous car, GTI. Car before that, year before that, had a Chevy SS. Before that, had a BRZ. Comparisons of those three, the interior is very similar to the BRZ in terms of material quality. BRZ had a better driving position, obviously being a sports car. Seats were better in the BRZ. I'd say the interior quality is comparable to the SS as well. The SS had terrible seats, not very supportive. These are in between this and the BRZ. BRZ had better leg supports. The RA has good, these Recaro seats have good lateral supports with your back, but the GTI had amazing seats. So don't get me wrong, the GTI had amazing interior as well. There's a few things I like better in this, few things I like better with the GTI. Overall, I'd say the interior package is really good. Alcantara style wheel and nice and grippy. Big thing obviously being the shifter, very nice, comparable to the BRZ in terms of shift quality, and I'm really happy with the car. The power band, the factory power band, didn't really feel that fast. You know, the SS obviously with that LS3 and the SS, nice even power band, amazing sound, good power. This car at first I was like, it doesn't feel that fast. The GTI actually felt a lot faster going off the line. It had a dual clutch gearbox as well, so it would just go. I did have a set of RE7Rs for Autocross. Did get first place in G Street for my region, in Sacramento region this year, and for 5th place overall for PAX with the GTI. So I don't think I'll be able to do as good with this next year, but we'll see. And overall, I do like the car so much better as my personal car. Going out looking at a GTI every day, a lot of people really like Volkswagen's GTIs, but you go out and you look, it's just a GTI. This car being a limited edition Type-RA, you go out, you don't see these anywhere on the street. And obviously going home every day, seeing the car when you go out from work, just it's an amazing looking car, and I'm really happy with it. First things with driving, we're going to start off in sports and then probably move on to sports sharp, try out some of the differential controls, see how it goes. And I've also got an overlay with some video here, some data overlay, so run that and see how it goes. Alrighty. First gear with this car engages immediately. No, having had a 95 Impreza with a 5-speed before, never would engage easily into first gear unless you did some things with the fluid. BRZ went to first really well, but this just immediately goes into first gear. Right now already in 4th gear, cruising 2,500 RPMs. It's just good cruising around these back roads, coming up here to some twisties already. The ride with the Type-RA is also a big selling point. I did ride with Travis in his Type-RA. The Bilstein shocks to me are amazing. I would say if you have a WRX and you don't want to go into coilovers, you want to keep a good comfortable ride, get some Bilstein shocks for your car. The actual Bilstein shocks, I believe you can get them for about $1,400 new from the dealer. There probably will be some guys out there with takeoff shocks. I don't think Travis is selling it, so don't ask him. In terms of other suspension options, obviously Olin's offers really good comfortable ride with the Road Track Series coilovers. I would definitely go to those if you want to maintain a good ride. Interesting enough, I was looking into some things about this car in terms of parts, and the rear sway bar now for the 2018s and the Type-RA is actually the sway bar from the previous generation WRX and STIs. I believe it's a 20 millimeter, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Coming up to the corner here. Now, one thing I did notice right away with this car, I did notice the torque vectoring. That was something that was a big deal with the GTI as well, where that has a fancy electronic front differential, allowing power to go 100% from left to right. And the torque vectoring as well helped out a lot with that car. With this car, you notice a little bit of a tug on the wheel. There we go. Now we're in, I was in intelligent mode. Now we're in sports mode. I'll probably move to sports starting here short. But yeah, the torque vectoring does have a little bit of tug of the wheel. The biggest difference I know is coming from the GTI. GTI has a very good steering rack in there. It's electronic, but you feel it it's very firm in your hands, does exactly what you want it to do. Obviously the STI is a hydraulic steering rack, and being a hydraulic steering rack, it's very interesting coming from the GTI. It's a lot more involving. You do feel everything in the car on the road, as a lot of other reviewers say about the car. But the big thing I've noticed is you have to work more at it. It takes a lot more concentration to drive the car quickly through corners. The GTI, on the other hand, you can just point and shoot. Point, give it gas, let the dual clutch do its thing. Very, very easy to drive fast. Obviously, with the manual transmission, a little bit more difficult to deal with. I am getting a little bit of a rattle from the back, but that's also because I just took out some of the back seat to install a Schroff harness for autocrossing. Pretty much a mandatory thing for autocross. You got to get a harness in the car. Some people are okay with regular seat belts, but if you want to be competitive, you're going to be pushing the car hard enough where you need to be in your seat and have full control of the car, and not worry about having to brace against another part of the chassis just to stay in your seat. I've tried CG lock type things before. I do have actually a little child lock for your seatbelt that I use for passengers when they're in the car, and that works okay. It does lock down the lap belt really well. But overall, I'd say you do need a harness, and Schroff being the only DOT approved harness, definitely recommend getting a Schroff harness for your car. Got a lot of moo cows over here. Wow, that's the most moo cows I've seen in under one tree in my entire life, I think. Now it does look like it's pretty rough in this video, but the difference with this car I've noticed is the 19s do give obviously a lot more feedback with the car, and a little bit more harshness there. But the ride isn't harsh. It's obviously rough, but you don't feel like you're getting hit hard. Unlike the Focus RS or some of the other cars that have come with very stiff suspensions, this doesn't feel hard. The Chevy SS had mag ride suspension. Amazing suspension out here. Probably the best road suspension you can get. Also amazing at Thunderhill West when I took it out there. Not a very good car for autocross though, because you will be all over the place with that car, struggling to keep traction going. It was a ton of fun to autocross, but it's slow. The GTI, on the other hand, the ride, I'd say the ride in this is actually a little bit better than the GTI. GTI, better autocross car than you would expect, but probably not as good of a track car, because it is front-wheel drive. Now you can see how I'm having the wheels pulling at me. That's actually what a lot of people like about this car, where it pulls the wheel with the hydraulic steering. It's not, there's no separation between you and the road. I did buy this car was because I do work at M45 Automotive, and we build short blocks. So we build closed deck short blocks in-house. We build sleeve deck blocks in-house. Forged internal builds. Basically going from just doing forged internals on your EJ motor to going to closed deck is not that big of a cost increase. So we do a lot more closed decks than we do just regular forged builds now. But we do everything M45. We do your oil changes, your 30K, 60K. We do performance installs. Anything you're looking to do, we can do for you. One thing we've started doing lately for a lot of our race cars is full fuel system installs, and by that I mean 6 or 8 AN lines all the way from a dual fuel pump in the back to the front of the car, because we find that EJ cars are hitting fuel issues around 450 horsepower and you're just running out of fuel. But we've been able to push cars in the 600 horsepower range, getting that extra fuel line in there, getting that fuel going. And the cool thing is that radium pump, dual pump, actually kicks in its second fuel pump based off of boost pressure. So once it starts boosting a bit more, once it hits a certain boost level, it starts throwing that fuel in the system, and then it just keeps it. And then also, obviously, because you're only running one fuel pump most of the time, you keep your gas mileage pretty reasonable. And running an 85 flex fuel these days, such an easy thing to do. Works perfect. For this car though, in stock class, you only have a couple things you can do. Tires, you have to keep the same size wheel or plus 1 inch higher or lower. So I could go down to 18s if I wanted to. Probably stick with these wheels because they are fairly light. I believe they're about 24 pounds, but we're going to find that out here soon. Pulling off here. You can do a rear or front sway bar, not both. You can do an axle back exhaust. I am going to a single outlet axle back exhaust in order to get a little bit of weight reduction. STI is so nice because you can trust it over bad pavement because of the all-wheel drive system, just to keep the grip going, power through the corner, and it just pulls you through the corner. If you had a rear-wheel drive car, you could step out once you start losing that traction, or with front-wheel drive car, just push a little bit more. All-wheel drive, you can trust it a bit more. Obviously in the rain as well, if you're accelerating in the rain, the GTI had a big problem with traction. Actually, a lot of wheel hop in that car. Same thing with the SS, actually. Solution with the GTI was a engine mount. Put in a little aluminum piece that would keep the drivetrain in place, and along with the sticky tires, the RE7Rs I had on there, it would run a lot better. But with this car, just like my old Impreza I used to have, I had front and rear limit slips. You can just accelerate in the rain, not worry about it. Biggest thing in the rain though, obviously, is lateral traction. So having a car like the old Impreza I had, no ABS, no traction control, no nothing like that, you had to worry. Having good tires with good rain tires, with traction control, with stability control, these days it's a lot safer to be in the rain and push it just a little bit, but you got to know your limits, and you know that physics you can only do so much with physics. Now here's the first part of the fun part of this road. Seems like there's a lot more dirt and debris out here right now. First rule of driving on back roads, as Matt Farrow would say, don't cross double yellow. I do see a lot of videos of people being stupid crossing double yellow. car, the 6 pots. I learned my lesson with the BRZ, trying to go to some pretty big brakes on there. Couldn't sort out the brake noise with the Willwood set. But with this car, 6 spots up front, good brakes in the rear, not much of an issue. Now this used to be an unmarked road, so there wasn't a center divider, but now there is, which is interesting. I might quiet down a little bit just to focus. Definitely need the harness through here. Pulls out a cord on ice right there. I've driven this road a lot, so I know the intrinsic, I can't even say that word right now, intricacies. You do have to watch out for cows and other fauna out here. Things about pushing these cars hard. You do need to focus on reliability mods. Now, a lot of people say get a catch can. It's not just about getting a catch can. You need an air oil separator. And the quality best one that we found is the IAG AOS. Now, the street version does plenty for you. The only time you need the competition version is for actual track cars, like Global Time Attack, tow it in, never actually drive it on the street, track cars. The other thing to consider, Killer Bee oil pan. Give that extra 1.5 quarts of oil in the system and get rid of that potentially devastating oil pickup breakage issue. A lot of people say it's been fixed, but I don't believe that because it's still the same freaking pickup tube. Alrighty, now we are out in the fun section. The other thing, maintenance. 3,000 miles, 3,500 miles at most, oil change with your STI. Don't skip it. Don't go to 7,000, don't go to 6,000. 3,000, 3,500 at the most. If the car sits a while, sits for 6 months, doesn't drive, probably do an oil change. Check your oil level at every gas stop, just to be safe. Obviously, we see a lot more oil consumption with the new FA motors than we do with the old EJs. Head gaskets were more of an issue previously, but now they have the front case seal with the FA motors. You actually get some seepage out of the front sealer. We got a tree in the road here, so I'm going to go around that. And FA motors have been pretty reliable for power, though. Just need that J-pipe, full exhaust. Intercooler's a big deal with that car. Get that flex fuel in there. Keep the stock turbo for a bit. You're good to go. EJs take a bit more work, but power is proven now. With the Type-RA motor, the new 2019 motor, the new piston design, sodium-filled valves, don't know yet. Don't know how, if it's improved at all. I'm going to be pretty conservative with this car. Autocrossing, probably not too many track days. Daily driving, not so much. Got the camo wagon for that. One thing I would say, also to consider, IAG does have a new oil, basically like an extra coolant line to go to one of the cylinder heads. We've only done it once on a car. It's an interesting concept, very inexpensive, and don't know if that improves the motors at all, because we've seen success without it. So that's another good idea to try that. Oil cooler, that's another possibility. Run a nice front-mounted oil cooler. Parent actually does make a pretty good unit for that. We do like the parent unit. Would be nice if there was a OEM option for that. There used to be, but it's a little bit of a hassle to fit it on the newer cars, and it's pricey. sound actor induction noise, that thing that I would do on the firewall, which I usually disable. I wound up running a muffler delete on that car. It sounded so much better. I could actually hear what the car was doing. So yeah, there is an axle back on the way for this car. It'd be nice to actually hear what the car is doing. Sorry, I just belched. Glad you can't smell it. Pretty bad. Just had Taco Bell. That's the interesting thing about this car. It kind of has torque steer. It's not the torque steer you think it is. It pulls through the corner because of the hydraulic steering. When I actually drove an Audi S3 after having the GTI, and one thing I really noticed with that car was the fact that it would pull out of the corner better with the all-wheel drive. And obviously, having had all-wheel drive cars before and rear-wheel drive cars, it is very interesting seeing the difference between a really good front-wheel drive car and an all-wheel drive car. With this car, STI, it's got the best all-wheel drive system, I think, where it's all mechanical. Obviously, the center diff on this car is electronic now. It used to be all mechanical. I say this is the best all-wheel drive drivetrain out of the cars like the Focus RS, the Golf R, any of the other competitors, because it's a real all-wheel drive system. Everything's in line, everything's equal, left and right. It's simple and it works. That's why Subaru's still using it. A lot of people say, oh, this is dated drivetrain, blah, blah, blah. But like I said, quick tune, you're looking at almost over 350 foot-pounds of torque from the crank, 330 at the wheel with just the tune. That's plenty of power for a stock car. Yes, the GTI, you can do a tune in that. Golf R, same thing, same motor. And obviously Focus RS, a lot of tuning capability there, but just too many issues with that car that we've seen. Alrighty, well, that concludes this video. I'm going to pull over here, say a quick word, and I will post more updates in the future. I'll see you guys around.